Okay, hello. This is a quick explore of how to look at why these pads may not be working and physically clean them just in case the connection between the pad and the circuit board isn't working. They should have velocity sensitivity. I'll show you how I think that works as we open it up. So you get like a gentle tap. And you should get a velocity response. I just thought I'd show you this voice that I messed about with as well, just because I like it. It's the start of a repair video, so let's start like, you know, some of the THX sounds at the cinema. So I thought that was fun. Right, so couple of things to know. I've changed the power supply in this, so it's not quite the same. You may be able to hear the fan running because the power supply has a fan in it now, because I swapped that out. Before we start undoing, I'll just turn that right down. I'm going to disconnect the power. So that's safe now. Disconnect the audio leads. There we go. And turn the audio down on that. Show you the back. I'm going to flip it over. The things you'll need for this, firstly I use a cushion, and that's because when this is face down it stops me from damaging anything here, although I would recommend that you take this off so that this is not being pressed in as hard with this on. That's what I'd recommend. You also need probably a screwdriver, pencil, and this one is a, can you see that? That's a 2B graphite pencil. I may not need this, but I've got a screwdriver just in case. I have some of this stuff. Contact cleaner lubricant. I've already started taking things out, but these are the screws you'll find. These are the ones I've put in separate, so forget those. And you'll probably need one of these. This is like a Q-tips cleaner, bit of cotton wool that you can use. So let's move this out. To carefully turn this unit over. Here at the back you can see that's my modification, rough and ready for the power supply, because I've changed that. Pop the unit down. There's normally there's screws in these holes here, so there's 4 at the bottom, and there's also 4 at the top. I've already started taking the screws out, so this won't take too long, hopefully. There's one out. I put that in the tray to keep all the screws together. There we go. Then this bottom unit carefully tilts towards you, and you can see that's my mess of power supply that I've put in there. So ignore that. This cable, ribbon cable, needs disconnecting, as does this one. I'm going to be working here because that's the back of the pads. So carefully, I'm going to just gently lever that up so that's clear. And this one here, I'll disconnect from this end, gently wobbling it from side to side, nice and gentle. Move this piece over to the side out of the way, that's the base. Bring this in and turn it round so you can see it. So now you can see with the cushion being there, it's a nice soft surface for it, so it's not going to press up on those buttons or break them. Then inside, move this light a bit. Inside here you can see there's normally 8 screws, or 7 screws, sorry, holding it in. I've got a couple in, one there, one under here, that we're going to remove now. First I'll undo this ribbon cable. Again, holding both ends, gently lift it up out of the way. Put that under there because that keeps it out of the way. Take these last screws out. I use a magnetic screwdriver that keeps hold of the screws. Some people don't like using them around electronics. There we go. So that's now all the screws in the container. Different colours. The external ones are that black colour and the internal ones are these silver. These have like if you can see it, a star washer that helps it bite in and give it an earth. So make sure you get the screws in the right place. This section now will gently push it out from underneath. So all I'm doing is gently pushing there all the way along. Then that lifts out. You can move that out of the way a bit. And this is the board which has the pads on. They would normally be that way round. And underneath here you've got these little rubber connectors. They hold all this pad in place. So to get them out, I gently prise and push gently, just so it pops out. Same here. This end. And just work gently because these are quite old units. It's 20 years old, this. So what we don't want to do is to tear it. So if you've got a tight one, you can use a screwdriver inside there and just gently sort of prise it up. So we'll do that here. Gently prise it up. And last one, as you can see into there. Gently prise it up. There we go. So there's the circuit board and there's the back of the pads. Now, as I understand it, the way this works is each pad has these 4 contacts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a dimple in the middle. And they correspond with these 1, 2, 3, 4 pads, and in the middle there, I'm not sure if you can get really close and see that, is what looks like 2 little blocks. Now I understand that to be a transmitter and receiver, which a signal comes out of there upwards, bounces on the pad and then comes back down again into the other, and that gives it a distance from here, and that's how it works out how fast the pad moves and how far down it comes. So to clean it, if it needs cleaning, I use the contact cleaner and spray a small amount onto there, but I do that on the tray. So we have the tray, contact cleaner, give it a shake. Oops. And just a very tiny amount, very small amount, that's all. And then carefully gently clean these pads and go all the way through all of the pads. The same here. There we go. You can can see they're slightly rough, the pads. So you just gently clean them all the way down. Then you can use some tissue and gently dab and let it dry. Then you take the pencil, once it's dried, and gently rub and as long as you use a soft pencil, this is, as I say, this is like the 2B. There you go, 2B, or softer. Graphite pencil, it sort of recoats these with a conductive pad, which will then, on the circuit board, connect to here. If you notice, there's two connections there. One touches the outside pads and one goes to the inside pad. So it makes the circuit by touching all of them at once. With these pads. Now, put it back together again. Make sure that it's orientated the right way. There's actually, with the pad, the center one here, the holes are offset. So if you try and put it on the wrong way round, if you look at those holes now, that one lines up with there, and this one lines up over here, so it goes on that way. If you were to put it on the wrong way round, that doesn't line up. Yeah, so you can tell if you've got it the right way around, put it next to it, and those line up. And to put it back in, line up the little tab, get hold of it and gently pull it through, nice and gentle. This one, nice and gentle. Don't have to be tight, just have to be in. And then you would do the same with all of them. Now, there is, while I'm doing this, I'll talk to you. There is another reason why these pads might not work that I know of, and that's to do with the connection. So if only one or two pads are not working, it could be because these are dirty and they need cleaning. Put this last one in here. That's all back together again. And that's the way it goes back in the machine. However, just so you can see, when I rubbed those pads, can you see that dirt there? So that was what was on the pads. That's why I rubbed them back on again. So that's that. Right, so using the same Q-tip thing, if these connectors here, if any of those are dirty, yeah, they might need a clean all the way along both sides. And also in the unit itself, just put these pads back in. This is a case of, if you keep hold of it with your hand on the back, you can have a look here and see if it's lined up on the front. Just to line up the pads. Get those in. All good. Then you can screw those back in. Now this cable, which I'll gently tease off that board, gently, this could be at fault. So if there's a gap there, or on this end, if any of these wires are broken, so it may be that you could try a different cable. This is like a floppy cable, I think. Let's count how many. I didn't do that before. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just counting now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That sounds weird. Another way to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So that's 34 connections at each end. So you just find a cable that's the same as this one and try swapping that. You could also clean these contacts here. When you put it back on, the actual cable, as it's folded there, there's a red stripe. See this red stripe on the bottom? I don't know if you can see that very well. It's not very clear. You can perhaps see a little bit of it there, the red stripe. So that red stripe goes to the bottom. It says connector number 1, but it doesn't give a number on the connectors. So on this side it does. Right, so on this connector here, right down there, I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. Let me get the light. Yeah, so it says 1 down that end and 34 up here. So just make sure that with your connector like this, the red stripe is the 1, so that goes to that end, and this stripe here is also the 1, which comes to here. That'll make sure it's connected the right way around. And again, gently push it down, and again, making sure it's located. On the pins, I'm just checking for it being located. There we go. So now we have that connector on and located. That brings us to another possibility of why the pads won't work. If either of these two connectors, I'm not showing you, I'm showing myself. If either of these two connectors isn't sat right, if it's to one side or the other side, it's not on the pins, if it was loose, or if these cables are damaged, that's another reason. And they're fairly simple to fix. Another alternative would be that there's a possibility of a problem with the main board, which would be a bit more awkward to fix. So what we'll do is pop this back in. I'll put the screws back into the board. So you can see it's quite a simple process if that's the problem to sort out, and you should be able to carefully reassemble. Even if you find that your pads, these little connectors are broken off, the rubber locating pins, it would still work without those on, because the circuit board is held in the right position by the screws. I should have put this on first, shouldn't I? Let me just take that off. The circuit board is held by the screws, and the pads are held by the shapes here. So that means that put that light on if I can find the switch. There we go. Which then, I'll put that in the wrong hole. Let's put it in that one. Which then means that even if these snapped off, you would still be able to use it. I've also seen on eBay a spare pad board if that was the problem. It's probably not, unless there's mechanical damage to it, because it's a very simple board. It's just connections with very few discrete components. It's like just an interface. I'll put the rest in later. That's enough to be going on with. So we'll bring back in the base plate, and then we'll reconnect this. Okay, if you're wondering, this little piece of paper here, this just shows each of the ROMs I have in it. It shows which slot they go into, just in case I have to take them out or swap them, because the presets need the ROMs to be in the right slot to work, otherwise they come up with an error. So same again with these connectors, gently pushing down, and again that's, as you can see, same kind of cable as this is the same kind of cable. This cable here that comes from the on-off switch and the headphones, etc. This goes into a socket, and this on my board it's got a locating pin type thing there, so you can't put it in the wrong way around. Ideally, what I tend to do when I first take something apart is take a picture of it, or a few pictures on my phone, so then I know how it goes back together again. So right, so then we put the bottom board here. Now I'm going to be taking this apart again due to needing to put all those screws in. I just thought I'd put this together now, and we'll just see if it works, see if I've managed to get it back together correctly. So I won't put all the screws in. There are a couple of settings for when the pads are being used. That's another possibility, although probably quite slight. But there is a possibility that in the menu something may have been set wrong and the pads aren't working because of that. You know, like I think it's a local off control. I'm just going to pop these back in. And this at the moment, because I've altered the power supply, it doesn't have an on-off button. It just powers up straight away. That's another bit of a fix I've got to do. So there we go, that's on. Turn the volume of it up a bit, let it boot up. There it is. I'm just going to put my little cap on. This is actually off a Proteus 2000, I think. So that works now. Oh, it's come back on again now, and it's on something. Go to presets. Oh, volume needs to be up, doesn't it? Yeah, that's working. I thought it was just me tapping, but no, it's there. Right, so if we go to go to what's under controllers. Local control on, turn that off. So there, can you see how there's no noise? Because I don't know if you can see that or not actually. Let's see if we can drop this down a bit so it's a bit more. There we go. You see a bit better there. So with local control off, these pads won't work at all. Put local control back on again. So that's a thing to try, I suppose. Anyway, I hope this has been useful for you, and you can then maybe have a look in yours if there's a problem or lack of sensitivity. Oh, there is another thing. I wonder if there's a velocity setting as well, you know, so because some are velocity sensitive when you play them, and I don't know if that's the case, if you can set that up so that it wouldn't actually work unless you really hit it hard. So on mine, that particular voice has that set, and it's a velocity sensitivity thing. So anyway, I hope you've found this useful, and till next time.